Theories of interpretation, which draw a distinction between the Babylon of Revelation chapters 16 through 17 and a supposedly distinct one in chapter 18, have no reasonable basis. The thematic consonance of Babylon described in both places is clear. For example, 1. The dress in which Babylon appears at Revelation 17:4 is essentially duplicated at Revelation 18:16. 2. The maddening wine of adultery dispensed by Babylon, from which the nations drink at Revelation 17:2, is mentioned again at Revelation 18:3. And 3. The harlot analogy of Babylon figures large in both sections as well. In fact, all the descriptions of Mystery Babylon are remarkably consistent throughout Scripture, so that when we place either section of Revelation alongside the broader picture, we find a seamless uniformity. This is true even when she is described under her alternative name of Tyre. Finally, inasmuch as chapter divisions in the New Testament are a relatively modern invention, 16th century, courtesy of Henri Estienne, also known as Stephanus, we should be extremely wary about placing any interpretive weight on the progression of chapters, that is, from 17 to 18. The fact that the details of Revelation chapter 18 follow directly upon those of chapters 16 and 17 with no break, indicated in Scripture beyond the extra-biblical chapter divisions, makes it clear, prima facie, that this discussion of Babylon is entirely of a piece with what has preceded. Simply put, there is not a shred of either textual or literary evidence to suggest drawing any sort of distinction between these two sections of Revelation so as to produce two Babylons. Lastly, there is no true indication anywhere in Scripture that Babylon is not a place. If she were an economic or religious system, as is sometimes claimed, it would be difficult indeed for the beast to destroy her in the near instantaneous manner described in Revelation 16 through 19 and elsewhere, if indeed such a thing would really be possible at all. Babylon is distinct from and to be distinguished from the Ten-Kingdom Empire. Another common misconception in the contemporary interpretation of Revelation is the mistaken idea that Mystery Babylon and the empire of Antichrist are essentially one and the same thing. Such, however, is not the case. Once one accepts the fact that Babylon is a real place, the home and original power base of Antichrist, the critical passages which describe the destruction of Babylon make it clear that the empire of Antichrist is still intact after this event. Indeed, Antichrist's subordinate kings play a large part in Babylon's demise. Now as for the 10 horns which you saw in the beast, these will come to hate the harlot Babylon, and will render her desolate and naked, and they will eat her flesh and will burn her up with fire. Revelation 17:16. Thus Antichrist and his empire are alive and well when Babylon is destroyed prior to the second advent, and are only destroyed themselves at the second advent, following Babylon's fall. Clearly then Babylon is an entity, apart from the 10-kingdom empire of Antichrist. As we shall see, this distinction between Babylon, Antichrist's home country, and the 10-kingdom empire over which he later gains control, helps us to understand how Scripture can refer to this unusual greater kingdom of the beast as a divided kingdom, Daniel 2:40-43, and as different from all other kingdoms, Daniel 7:23. Since Babylon is distinct from the 10-kingdom empire, she is most likely not located in Europe. In Revelation chapter 17, the prostitute Babylon is portrayed as riding upon the beast, the empire of the beast, an allegory which shows, among other things, both the independence of Babylon and the empire one from another, and the fact of their close relationship. The empire over which the beast gains control during the first half of the tribulation, using Babylon as his base of power, she rides the beast, is made up of 10 major kingdoms, that is, the 10 horns of Daniel 7:7 and 8. Although the exact identity of these kingdoms is never expressly given in the Bible, two key passages of Scripture, Daniel 9:24-27 and Revelation 17:8-11, make it clear that these nations are, in general terms, loosely synonymous with the area ruled by the Roman Empire of John's day, and for this reason, the empire of the 10 horns is sometimes referred to in the interpretation of Revelation as the revived Roman Empire. 70 weeks have been decreed for your people and your holy city, to complete the rebellion and consummate sins, that is, to bring apostasy to the full, to atone for iniquity and bring in everlasting righteousness, that is, the saving work of Christ, and to seal up vision and prophecy and anoint the Holy of Holies, that is, the coming of the kingdom. So know and understand that from the issuing of a decree to desist from rebuilding Jerusalem, in circa 485 BC, Ezra 4:6-23, and for the rebuilding of Jerusalem, beginning 42 years later in circa 443 BC and taking an additional 7 years to complete, until Messiah the Prince there will be 7 weeks, that is, between the decree and the rebuilding, and 62 weeks, that is, between the rebuilding and the birth of Christ in circa 2 BC. Jerusalem will be repopulated and rebuilt with streets, that is, residential reconstruction, and fortifications, that is, military reconstruction, and will remain so even during difficult times, for example, the occupation of Antiochus Epiphanes. And after the 62 weeks, Messiah will be cut off and have nothing, and the people of the prince who is coming, that is, Antichrist, will destroy both the city and the holy place. And his end will come with a flood, that is, the flooding away of his armies at Armageddon. Compare the same Hebrew word, shetef, in Daniel 11:22 and Nahum 1:8. And until that end, there will be wars. Appalling devastation has been decreed. Then he, that is Antichrist, will confirm an agreement or covenant, Hebrew berith, with the powerful in Israel during that one remaining week, that is the 70th week, the tribulation. But in the middle of the week, that is just prior to the tribulation's midpoint, he will put a halt to sacrifice and offering, that is eliminating Moses and Elijah and interrupting the temple rites. And on account of the extreme nature of his abominations, he will be causing desolations, that is desertion and estrangement from God, even until the end, when what has been determined will be poured out upon the one characterized by this desolation, that is the beast as archetype and cause of the alienation and rebellion from God, which he fosters. Daniel 9:24-27. In addition to the prominence of this prince during the final week, the tribulation, and his interruption of the temple rites, both of which are clear indications that this is Antichrist, the identification here of both him and Messiah as princes, the use of the identical Hebrew word, naghid, suggests a true prince and an anti-prince, and the phrasing of his agreement with Israel as a covenant. The same Hebrew word berith, suggesting here an anti-covenant opposed to the true covenant, are also clear indications that this person is indeed none other than Antichrist. For we have already considered Antichrist's deliberate, false claims of messiahship, and in his treating with Israel, it is more than conceivable that he will portray his formal arrangements with her in a similar messianic way, falsely suggesting that it is a scriptural fulfillment of the new day for Israel. Daniel 11:22 actually combines both of these ideas with its labeling of Antichrist as the Prince of the Covenant, Negid Berith, removing any doubt about the identity of the individual in question here.